What do you do when you've tried everything and nothing seems to be working? And I'm not talking about just like kind of not working or, wow, this is going a whole lot slower than I hoped it would be going, but like nothing is working. We've been in that exact kind of season. And in today's episode, we're going to dive deeper so we can share on what we've learned with success, with striving, and what God is actually doing within the seasons that feel the most unproductive. The frustration of nothing.
Nothing. Nada. Zilch.
Absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that with a smile on my face, and we kind of like jump into it jokingly, but it is the biggest frustration that I think we've run into, not just in business, but in life also, with just things that you're waiting for or wanting, but especially in business.
Yeah, I think this is something everybody encounters, and I think we've encountered it multiple times. We've been recently walking through a season where this has felt really true, but it's like, when you start something new, it's new to you, you have a bunch of ideas, there's this big splash about it, right? Like friends and family rally around you, word gets out quick, and things like, if you start something new, it really doesn't matter what it is. Pretty quickly, if you stay dedicated to it, you can make something work. Like you can go from 0 to moderately successful with what you're doing, I'd say with relative ease. Like if you've got the drive and the want to, you can make it happen in just about anything. And so like that begins to happen. You grow to this level of success where, okay, I've achieved this thing. And you can change absolutely nothing. You can keep running the same plays and things are just chugging along. And then all of a sudden the bottom feels like it falls out. And it's like, you look up and you're like, what the heck just happened? Like this was working for me. Now it's not working. I changed nothing. It was working before. Now nothing's working. This was bringing in revenue before. Now it's not bringing in revenue. This was getting attention and inquiries before. Now nothing's getting attention and inquiries. What the heck do you do in those moments?
Yeah. Or one of the biggest stingers is I used to post like this on social media and it worked. It went bonkers. It got a ton of attention. And now it's not even a golf clap. Like it's nothing.
Yeah. And I think those moments, like I mentioned, we've been walking through one of those seasons lately, which we'll get into in this episode. But I think one of the biggest perspective shifts that I was given through the season we've been walking through, actually from one of our friends and mentors, Brad. We were talking to him about this season of nothing seeming to work that we've been walking through. And he's like, I am so glad that you're in this season. And we were like, thanks. I thought we were friends.
Yeah.
Like,
why are you wishing this on me?
We're over here going like, Brad, nothing's working. Everything's broken. This is so frustrating. And he said something to the effect of like, I'm so glad you're in this season, because what he unpacked for us is like every business owner he's ever coached reaches this point where what's been working stops working. And really the whole point of it, the whole goal of it, if you stick with it through that season, as we're going to talk about today, is that you come out the other side with a more refined understanding of who you are, a more refined understanding of what you're doing, who you serve. It's like an evolution of your business to another level that a previous version of yourself wouldn't be able to step into.
And that you have to go through in order to get to that next point. Like you just absolutely have to. And so if you're listening, hopefully you hear John say that and it can make you feel a little bit better. In the moment when he was like, I'm so glad you're here, we were not feeling good. So hopefully you just can feel better knowing like, okay, I'm not alone. And not just because we're going through it, but also because it's normal. And for our business coach and the amount of business owners that he coaches and works with to say that this is the point people come to, I guess we're in good company. So just take that and know that you're not alone in it. Because I think that is one of the hardest parts, is just like, is it just us? Have we just been lifted, dropped onto this island of nothing and just left to, I don't know, try to survive, thrive, survive,
Sometimes
keep your head
it feels
up.
like you're rubbing two wet sticks together trying to start a fire on a remote island. It's like, this is not working anymore. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I feel like I just got stopped dead in my tracks when I came across a social media post, because, it's just like, I've come to you before and I'm like, this one was for me. Someone shared this and it's mine. It's mine. And it's just like screaming so loud at me. But it was when I first opened the app. And that's sometimes like, it's kind of funny, but I'm always just like, it's just a God wink when I open the app and it's just right there. I don't even have to scroll for anything. This one was just sitting right there. It's like just that front square that caught my attention. It was one of those moments because I welled up with tears and I was just like, oh my gosh, this has my attention. And I do want to read it because I feel like we're not the only ones who go through seasons of nothing, and whoever it can help, I just want it to. And we need to also just like point to it, shout it out, because there's an amazing message attached to the back end of it. It's from Christine Caine, and her post started with a slide that said, "Nothing will test your faith like nothing."
Let that sink in for a second. Like nothing will test your faith like nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that just takes a second to sink in.
Yeah.
I know when you shared this with me, I read that and then I was like, but then I was like, wait a second, pause.
Mm-hmm.
I find oftentimes some of the most profound wisdom is found in some of the most simple things.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds really simple, but it's super true. Like nothing will test your faith like nothing. There being nothing. There being nothing successful in front of you, nothing working in front of you. None of the things that you're hoping for, working towards, dreaming of, have visions of, none of that being anywhere close to where you think it ought to be or where you hope it would be. Like nothing tests your faith more than being in that season. Gosh, I mean, that's just, it's so true. It's so true.
And then I think it goes a little bit deeper, even when it's like, none of the prayers I've been praying have been answered. Like that kind of nothing, it's like, that's going to test your faith. It was that slide. And it's like, I didn't even need to scroll to continue reading because it stopped me dead in my tracks. So you're right with just pausing with that, because I think when I paused with it is when the tears just like came, because it's like, man, nothing's going to test my faith just with nothing. None of my hopes, none of my dreams, no things I'm wishing for, praying for, nothing. Like that'll get your attention and it really will test your faith. The next slide says, 6 times Elijah's servant came back with the same report. There is nothing. And 6 times Elijah said the same thing. Go again. Because Elijah had heard the sound of rain in the spirit before a single cloud had ever formed. The space between the promise and the downpour, that's the faith zone. Go again as many times as it takes.
A lot of wisdom in there. He had said that rain was coming, and he sent his servant to go check, and he's like, yep, nope, blue skies, man. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Go check again. Still blue skies, not a cloud in the sky, man. Cool. 6 times sent him back. I mean, that's what we're talking about feels like. Oftentimes, it's like, okay, we're going to try this. Nothing. Okay. Like sometimes it feels like you can take one of those, right? It's like, okay, felt like a punch in the gut, but let me muster up all my willpower, all my self-esteem I can, and try and go again. And you execute on another idea, and it's like, yep, nothing. Oftentimes, I'll be honest, like that's the point where I start feeling really bad for myself and get down and think everything's broken. But like the example we're given is like 6 times he sends him back. To look, and 6 times it's like there's nothing there.
Well, and because it says, because Elijah had heard the sound of rain in the spirit. So it's like it wasn't actually there yet, but he heard it, and he heard the sound of it, and he knew it's gonna rain. Like I hear that sound, I know where that's coming from, it's gonna rain. And so he grabbed onto it and held onto it, and that's why he was able, in that the space between the promise and the downpour is like a faith zone, is just like, holy cow. But I think today it's even more difficult because we move at such a fast pace. So you try effort 1, doesn't work, give up, or maybe you'll try again. Try effort 2, you may give up, you may try again. Like you said, at effort 3, it's like, is this me? Should I just stop? Should I give up? And a lot of people don't make it very far to continuing to persist and to persevere because we just move so fast these days. It's like, it's not working. Okay, must abandon ship, must go this direction. Or, jump from this endeavor that I'm trying to get to this place over here. We'll just continue to reroute and just abandon ship.
Well, it's you might be asking yourself like, wow, Eric and John, you guys are going deep on today's episode right out the gate. Like, whoa, didn't expect this. But like, here's why, really. Why did we start Beyond the Camera? Why did we start this podcast? Because we fully believe that you as a business owner are more than just a photographer. It's more than just picking up a camera and serving people. There's a purpose behind what you do. And as Christians, we believe that there's a calling on our lives. There's a deeper purpose with our business than just taking photos. And we've shared in past episodes, like our camera has been the open door to lots of opportunities to share with people. And I was even able to baptize a friend like through photography. Like that was just the tool that opened the doors. And so there's a bigger purpose. Maybe that purpose for you is just providing for your family. Maybe it's creating a new future for your kids that they wouldn't have been able to experience otherwise. Maybe that purpose is the people that you're going to meet and the people that you're going to impact, the moments that you're going to capture, the businesses you're going to help serve. It's bigger than just taking photos. There's a purpose in what you're doing. And anytime you're doing something that has a purpose behind it and is meant to make an impact, there's going to be seasons where things feel dry because it's bigger than just taking photos. If it was just as simple as taking photos, I think things would be easy all the time.
Exactly.
If it was just as easy as that, if it was just as simple as I take pictures, I get paid, I think it would be easy all the time. But knowing that it's so much deeper than that, like when we think about everything that we do in our business, when we help a brand with their photos and help them elevate their imagery and their presence in their marketing, we know that it's impacting the business owner and all the people that work for them. It's changing their family dynamics. It's taking small business owners who are struggling to market and helping them speak louder than they ever have, which like that can change that can impact marriages because of lack of stress of finances, that can impact childhoods, like so many things. Then when it comes to teaching photographers, the same thoughts are the thoughts that we have. It's like we're not here to sell courses or sell templates. We're here to help you as a photographer be more successful with your camera, not just for the sake of making more money, but for the sake of impacting your life, for helping you believe in yourself, for helping you impact your family, to change and improve your marriage and your kids' childhoods and all of these things. Like that's the why behind everything we do. So of course, there's seasons where we walk through valleys like this that it's just like nothing's working. Why? It's because there's a deeper purpose behind it. That's why we're diving so deep into this right from the beginning, because as you read in that story, like eventually it says, I love too that it's not like, and then the downpour came.
Right.
It's like he knew because he sensed in the spirit that rain was coming. And then it says, I think it was the seventh time his servant goes out, he sees a cloud the size of a man's fist in the sky, which is just like, that's a tiny cloud. That's a tiny little cloud.
Like you have to squint to see that. Like
it's like
up in the sky.
Just barely. You know what? That might be.
It's a rain cloud.
I think that's a cloud. Maybe. That ain't producing no rain though, but there's a cloud up there, sure. Like that's what this journey as business owners can feel like. But I think when you have a bigger purpose behind what you're doing, oftentimes I think a lot of people who feel that also feel this shared idea that like there's a calling behind it. And I know for us, like we have dreams that I believe are God-given dreams. We have visions. We have things that we believe the Lord has spoken to us with our business, that's the thing we hold on to. Like, just like in that example, Elijah's like, I heard the rain in the Spirit's like, those are the things that have been spoken to us. So even when it looks like nothing's working, we get to hold on to that and say, go again, go again, go again. But this isn't just a podcast episode to talk about, well, just, pull your britches up and go again. Keep going till the rain comes.
Britches.
But really, it's like diving into what is our natural response truly in those moments, and what should our response really be? Because as I already said, like my natural response is just to start kicking dirt. And it's probably because I said, pull up your britches. Got to kick that dirt.
Kick the dirt.
Kicking dirt, feeling bad for myself, freaking out. Like everything's broken. Nothing's working. Like it just starts to devolve really, really quickly if you let it.
Well, and that can happen, or it can just be like, time to just put my head down. Got time to like dig my heels in deeper, time to work harder, time to just like burn the midnight oil. We have said that before. Well, I guess it's just time to burn the midnight oil again. Like we must just have to go back to the days of hustling when we were actually proud that we were having to hustle. It's like, that's another tendency where it can just be like, fine, I'm just going to dig deeper. I'm going to push harder. I'm going to be louder. I'm going to launch quicker. I'm going to reach out to more clients. I'm going to run into 20 doors today instead of just 2 doors today. It's like those can be the tendencies when there's nothing. It's easy to think like, I have to do more. I must work harder. I must go and do and insert myself into the nothingness.
Yeah, it all depends on me, right? And I think that's a feeling, especially as a man and as a husband, I have. So for any of you watching or listening that are men, you feel the pressure to provide for your household. Like, that's especially tough because I feel like it's on my shoulders to figure everything out and to provide you and the kids with everything and give you a comfortable life and make all your dreams come true. Not because you guys are waiting to hold a hammer over my head if I don't, but because like that's my heart for you as a husband and for our kids as a father. And so that one's especially tough. Like, it's natural, I think, for us as guys to think this is all on my shoulders. I've got to figure this out. I just got to muscle this out, right? I throw another one on the sled. I can pull it. Let's go. Like, I'll just muscle my way through this. But oftentimes when we run into these seasons, it doesn't matter how much harder you work. It seems like things just get worse and worse and worse. And like, just to level set with you watching and listening, like, this isn't something you just go through once in business. It's not just something that, oh, maybe you're walking through right now. Like we said, like, you might look at us and be like, oh, Eric and John, they sure have their stuff together. Like, we're still walking through this season right now. And our reaction was the same. Our reaction was, I had a pity party for a while. I got frustrated. You're smiling because you know it. I got frustrated, had a pity party, did the toddler tantrum. And then it was just like, I felt like, all right, just got to pull my britches up and work harder. All right, let's just go. And we just start like, let's try this. 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 It was like, I thought the answer was, if this isn't working, let's multiply our effort across 10,000 different things at once and find out what's going to work. One of them surely has to, like, I'd say one of these has to work. And it's like throwing spaghetti against the wall. And I think what's even worse is not only do you burn yourself out in that process, you also start to see a lot of things not working, which only adds to the confirmation bias of like, see, everybody hates me. Nothing works. I'm washed up. I'm old news. Like, I can't impact people anymore. Like, I'm all done for. But it also gives you zero clarity around what is or isn't working because you're so busy doing all of these different things that you have no time to pull your head up and go, hey, did that thing I tried 6 times ago, like, did that work remotely? Right. Like, even a little bit? Should I double down on that? Because you're just like, on to the next idea, on to the next idea, build the next thing. And just did this a few weeks ago. We had our niece in town. And that's super special to us. We love time with our nieces and nephews. We had our niece in town, and we're walking through the season where nothing seems to be working like it used to. And I spent, I'd say, 80% of the time she was here in the office behind the computer, building something new, trying really, really hard, like giving my best to it. I'd say, I don't know, you can speak to this. I'd say having a good attitude about doing it. Yeah. I wasn't doing it in a pity party. Like, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. It's going to work. And we released that thing, and the response that we thought was going to be like, this is what will serve people. This is how we can help them. We expected like an avalanche type response, and we got like a golf clap type response. Yeah. And I was so discouraged when that happened. Like, I felt gutted. Because of everything I just sacrificed to then not see the results that I expected. It felt like, man, you're just kicking a guy in the gut while he's down.
Yeah, no, I think that's the super important thing is that in all 4, this is the 4th episode, but in all 4 episodes, we have not come to them to like, preach type of thing. It's like, it's ourself that we are actively walking through. And it's kind of not a coincidence, but it's like, geez, of course it would work out that way. That's just the way that God does what he does. But it's almost like a live action, I don't know, diary, reflection, coming on this journey with us because we're very much on it. Like John just so openly said, it's like, we're very much on it. So if you are too, just know that because it's not, we never want to cover up or make it seem like it's something that it's not. Because like you just said, we fell into that poor response when something's not working. It's just like, look what that got. That's not the result we wanted. And then it's left with the regret because it's like, well, shoot, Arizona and Florida are really far away. And those times don't come as often as we want them to. And so there's just so much to say that looking back, even though it's a short period of being able to look back, it's like, I'll never do that again. We'll never do that again. Because it's not worth it. It doesn't lead to the to the response that you want ever. Because again, like you said, you're inserting yourself.
Right.
And I know it's safe to say this also because again, we've had to walk through it, but lovingly reaching out to people who we need to reach out to at times to still have to pour into us. It's like we had to have that called out to us that really what that is pride. When you're constantly jumping in to be like, I got this, I can strong arm this, I can white knuckle this, like me, let me, I'll double down. That's so prideful. Because you're just assuming that like, oh, it has to be me. Oh, it must be me. I can have the idea. I can put it into action. I can get it out there. I can get the result. And at the root of that is pride, which is which is an extremely tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, it's extremely helpful. Again, I don't know. I guess like I'm a sucker for the hard things because it's like I like to feel them and to have that moment of reflection so that I can grow better and get through the season you have to go through to get to the next level. I want to go through it. You're going to go through it one way or another. So I want to go through it the best that I possibly can because I know that the best is for me on the other side of it. So I was okay for our coach that shared that with us. That'll be for a future time that we share more into that story, but to reveal that to us because it needed to be said.
Well, what we were falling into in that was this idea that if I do enough stuff, then I'll have the results I want to have, and then I'll be fulfilled. I'll be the person I want to be. And
which we know is not the right
way of
progression.
Yeah, going through things. And really what was interesting, even as we process this out loud and talk about this, is what happened next was we were really called back to the state of being that we know is the order things need to be in, which was to be first. Ask ourselves, who do we need to be? And out of that, what do we need to do? Because out of that, we'll have the results we want to have.
Right.
And so we're walking through this. I sacrifice all this time with my niece in town. Feels like a massive gut punch, not even because the thing didn't work the way we thought it would from a revenue standpoint, but because the thing didn't work. And I recognized very quickly, crud, look at everything I sacrificed for this result. And the truth is, even if it had worked, I'd be lying to say it was worth the sacrifice that I put into that.
Yeah.
I might be able to, we're good liars. Like we can lie to ourselves really well. I might be able to try and justify that in my mind. But I think the fact that it didn't work shines an even bigger spotlight on the fact that like, that was never worth the sacrifice in the first place. And we know these things.
Yep.
We know these things. We've lived them time and time again. I mean, it's our story. We started our wedding photography business. We started to get a little bit successful, but then it's like, oh, wait, we're leaving the kids with nannies and with Nana and Papa, and we're missing soccer games, and we're doing all the things. Like, we know that sacrifice is never going to be worth it. But out of the freak out
of nothing,
we went straight back to old habits. I guess I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm kind of glad it didn't work out.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't have opened our eyes to what we needed next.
So that makes two. We're both a sucker for the hard and for the things that don't work out because it is the biggest teacher. It's the biggest lesson learner. I think that's the other part too, is having to get to a point to be grateful for that pain, for that frustration, for that nothing, because it ultimately taught the lesson we had to learn in the first place. So there's so much gratitude for it.
Yeah, truthfully, I'll just continue being transparent here. This is like self-therapy on the podcast. You've talked to me about this idea of be grateful for what isn't. And that hasn't really sunk in quite the way it has until just right now, where I just connected the dots and said, actually, I guess I'm really glad this didn't work out because it's shown a spotlight so I could recognize why that wasn't worth it. And then when you just said that, I'm like, dang.
I saw it.
She was right. This makes sense. But when you said it to me, and maybe to you listening, like when I'm frustrated, this thing doesn't work and nothing seems to be working. And Erica's like, I'm reading this really good book that's talking about being grateful for things that when there is nothing, like be grateful for the nothing. And I was just, honestly, I was like, thank you for your elevated perspective on life. And I'm so glad that
you're having it.
I'm so glad that you can be like, rose-colored glasses, rainbows and butterflies, but right now I feel like in the pit, man. Like, be grateful for feeling like I'm getting kicked in the gut, laying on the ground. That feels tough.
But I wasn't in rose-colored glasses. It was one of my best friends. She goes deep. Love her to death. Mary Kate, she was next to me in a season that maybe at some point in the future, that'll be another thing that we dive into and share. But she just had so much compassion. And I remember standing in front of her house where she's like, I'm going to give you this book after a long conversation with her. I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll sit and read. That sounds peaceful. That sounds calm. I can go to the ocean and read. And she gave me this book, and I started reading it, not as soon as I wanted to. That was the crazy part. I wanted to read it like the second she gave it to me. Started reading it right when I needed to, because what I read out of those first 2 chapters just completely blew my mind. And that was a huge part of it, was being able to recognize the gratitude for everything, even the nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
It's very hard.
It's easier to look back and see that once you've walked down the road. The goal, I guess, would be close that gap.
Yeah.
Get faster at recognizing that. But so we're walking through that. And then you come to me with this wild idea. You said, hey, we've tried a lot of stuff. Nothing's working. There's only one thing we haven't tried. And I was like, oh, good. She's got a brilliant idea.
Light bulb.
I can't wait to know what we need to do next, because Erica's full of great ideas all the time. I'm like, she's got this epiphany. It's going to be awesome. And what you told me was the only thing we haven't tried doing is nothing. Let's try doing nothing.
Yeah.
And I gotta be honest. When you told me that too, I'm just like,
you were annoyed.
Okay, I think there's like this rebellious, like you've got this little rebellious side of like, well, fine, nothing's gonna work. We'll do nothing.
Yeah.
How about that? Take that. Like I'm just gonna do nothing.
No.
Yeah, that did not sit well with me.
No,
at first
I know
you
you were annoyed. I know you well enough where I was like, he's trying to just be patient and hear me out, but he's so annoyed right now. But as I was saying it to you, I was like, this is the answer. I know this is the answer. Doing nothing. Because we've prided ourselves on, we've done this, we've done that, we've done this, we repeated that, we transitioned to this, we pivoted to that, we reached out to them. We did it all. Cool, that's us.
Yeah.
What if we do nothing? Like literally say, hey, Erica and John, it's time for you to take a seat and be John and Erica for a little bit. Erica and John is when we're in the business. John and Erica is when we're in our personal life. So it's like, Erica and John, you guys hop back. Just go sit down. Go sit, do nothing. And John and Erica can just be. And yeah, that I know at first it was annoyance, and then it was a struggle for you because it was like, I'm not lazy. We work hard. I'm not okay to just be irresponsible. Like
I think the thing for me, I've wrestled with that in the past. In rest in general, is like I'm not lazy. Like I work hard, and I think, I'm wired to work hard. I think that's great. I don't think that's a bad thing, and I'm willing to slow down and take breaks and to rest. I mean, we practice the Sabbath. We do those things, but it's like backs up against the wall. Stuff's not working. Everything feels in disrepair, and it's on fire. And then it's like, go to the beach and just sit around. Like what I told you is I said, I would struggle to reconcile with myself that, we do that for a week and then we get to the end of that week and nothing's changed. It's like, well, I just wasted a week where I could have been productive and trying something rather than nothing. And you kind of left that in my court. You were like, all right, well, think on it, pray on it, and we'll talk about it. And I'll tell you, like, the amount of things that lined up, like, it's not coincidence. Like, the amount of things that lined up. So I'm a worship leader at our church. I had that coming weekend off. And there's stuff that I do during the week for that as well, and rehearsals and stuff like that. Like that upcoming weekend I had off, which meant that week I would have nothing, which was very rare. We had other things in our schedule that were super clear. I had a conversation with somebody at our church that was just like, well, this kind of came out of nowhere. And gosh, like, did my wife call you and have a conversation with you? Because that's kind of what it felt like.
Yep.
And I came home and I was like, I came home on Sunday after church and I was like, all right, I think we're supposed to do nothing. And I'm really wrestling with it. And for the first couple of days, I told you, I was like, I'm struggling with this. I'm actively struggling with this. You would think I'd be like, woo, won the lottery. My wife's telling me not to work and go fishing. And instead, even when I was fishing, I was like, there's no fish. Nothing's working. Can't even catch a fish.
Is that how you sound when you're on the kayak?
Yeah, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my grumpy fisherman voice. No. We Brody went out in the fishing kayaks and doing all this stuff, and I started to get into the groove a little bit more, but truthfully, I think the frustration built throughout the week because I expected that in this doing nothing, I'd have this huge revelation of like, aha, look, you created space. Everybody always talks about creating the white space, right? You got to create some white space. And I'm like, okay, in this time of doing nothing, certainly it's going to be just like download from heaven on like, here's what you should do. Here's your marching orders, you know. Oh. There's nothing. There's nothing. And we got to the end of the week and nothing had changed. But at the same time, everything had changed. Like nothing physically had changed. It's like, yep, still no cloud. Like,
except for the one the size of a hand.
But we did see something. Yeah, we saw the cloud the size of the hand.
And a wild analogy. I was sitting here in my head going like, do I share this? Do I not? Do I bring it in? I think I have to, because day one of that week, there were these plants. Yeah. What are they? Spider plants? Supposed to help with like purifying the air and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I've never been a plant lady. We have these 3 plants that I'm nurturing and keeping alive.
First time in your life you've kept plants alive. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
watching
like, I don't know. Is it Florida? Is it 30s? I don't know what it is. They were getting crazy. I looked up at the front corner and I'm like, oh my gosh, these plants are going
overtaking the whole room.
Overtaking. Like pretty soon it's going to look like Jumanji in here. Morning 1 of the week of doing nothing. I just randomly, I think I got done drinking my coffee. I looked at the front corner, didn't say anything, but I was like, I think these plants need a haircut. And I grabbed the scissors, walked over to them. I think I did pull up like how to kind of thing. And literally it's grab the leaves, cut. So I collected the leaves and I just cut. I mean, I scalped them down to like 2 inches.
Like, you know, when somebody gets a bad haircut and they're like, what do you think? And you're like,
yeah,
that's you. Like when you showed me the plants, I was like,
okay.
Like we have kept these plants alive till now.
We
like
did.
You just ruined them. They're dead.
But I took all of everything that was going on and I just cut it. And later that day it hit me. I was like, I took those things down to nothing. There's something in this. Like I bookmarked it. I even said to you, I'm like, call me crazy, but there's something in this.
The plants are speaking to you.
It's just in the dang plants. See, I am a plant lady. Oh shoot.
Yeah.
That's like really revealing plant lady stuff. But what was it? 2 days into it? 3 days into it? From
2 max. It might have been like later the day.
From within the plant. And not on all the outskirts, not on all the stuff, but from within the plant, like where the leaves come up, the sprouts of growth that came within those 2 to 3 days was mind-blowing. And maybe because I've never experienced this, so for those of you who've been doing plants your whole life and you're like, oh, how cute, she's just seeing that, bear with me. But I saw that and I was like, there is so much growth, but the growth was not all around the edges with all of the crazy leaves that were like, you know, surrounding the pot. It was from within the center. Mm-hmm. And that caught my attention. And I came to you and I said, John, I told you there was something in trimming these plants and cutting them off.
Yeah.
Where was the growth coming from? And you were sitting right here in our office. I said, look at these plants. Where's the growth coming from? And you're like, it's coming from up in the middle. I'm like, yes, within the middle, out from it was growing crazy, crazy fast.
Well, because the only thing we both felt like we had heard during this week of rest was just we needed to simplify, which was the opposite of what we were doing. Again, we were freaking out. We were reacting. We were trying tons of things. Mm-hmm. And we just both felt this persistent, like, just simplify. Because you know how it is when you build a business, like you build lots of things.
So many ideas.
You know, you duct tape things together and you, MacGyver a lot of things. Shout out if you understand the MacGyver reference. That's
I'm not even there with
80s
you.
show. Loved MacGyver.
That's why
the guy would do crazy, like he'd be stuck in a prison cell because he was on a mission and he's got a toothpick and a strip of duct tape and somehow he makes a bomb and blows the place up.
We
and gets
would
out.
Do that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
We would probably do that.
Yeah, he would make something happen out of nothing. Mm-hmm. Right. So anyway, you build lots of stuff, you MacGyver it all together, it's duct taped together, it's held together, and before you know it, as your business continues to grow, you know that there's things that are kind of like limiting you, holding you back, but you're like, I built so much on top of that, let me just build some more and figure out another workaround, another patch job.
Or this worked for them, if it worked so well for them, this should probably work for, I built it the exact same.
Yeah,
They did
I use Dubsado right now, but they use Honeybook. I bet you, I mean, shout out to Honeybook. We do love Honeybook.
We do love Honeybook.
But bad analogy. Reverse. I use a Honeybook. They use Dubsado. Maybe it's my CRM. It's like, really? Or yeah, you know, I used to use this and now I use that and I put it together with this. And it's just like, before you know it, you got this monster where doing the most simple thing seems like so complicated because you don't remember what it's talking to and where it's touching this and that and what it's going to affect all over the place. And I mean, tell me it's not just me, right? Like that's where we were at. And we just felt this message of simplify, 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 simplify. Because I think that was part of the burden we were carrying in the nothing too, is like, even to make small adjustments and pivots, which you have to do in business, felt like this massive undertaking.
Yep.
And so you cut the plants and they grow. Like they had nuclear waste on them, and they just like doubled in size every day
from within,
the inside.
From within. And like that was the takeaway where I was like, the growth is not going to come in a tangible way where it's like all of these sessions get booked, all of this product gets sold, all of this launch just does, you know, the viral attention that, you know, is out there for all these crazy launches. That's not where it's going to come from. Yep. That's not the important part. That can't come until the growth comes from within. And it had our attention just so strongly that week where I was like, we had to go to nothing to see everything that we needed to see.
Yeah. Well, and I said nothing happened that week except for everything happened that week.
Yeah.
Nothing that I would have written in the story happened that week. Like we didn't have something just automatically start working while we were taking time to rest. We didn't have this huge divine revelation of like, thou shalt do this. And like, you know, here's the written on stone tablets. This is what you got to go do. Like we didn't have anything like that. We just felt this feeling of simplify. After that week, we had some conversation with some friends and mentors that kind of confirmed that for us, which was great. But I think the biggest takeaway that we had, the biggest gift that we had was in the nothing for the first time, even though it made absolutely no sense. We had peace.
Yep.
We had peace. Peace that passes understanding. Like peace that didn't make any sense.
Honestly, peace probably that Elijah was feeling because he's like, I heard the sound of rain. Yeah. So I'm going to hold on to rain and my servant's going to go check as many times as I say. We have absolutely dedicated every part of our business to God and saying, it's yours. Yeah. We'll work it as long as you want us to work it. And he's never said anything different. So it's like, we can hold on to that and have peace in nothing. When we're not working, when we're not checking to see if the things we have built are working, it's just like, nope, what he has said and just peace in nothing.
Yeah. Well, and I think you just said something really important, and to take that a level deeper, like we've prayed before, like in these seasons where nothing works, like, God, if you want me to shut the doors to these business, like, please show me. I will gladly shut them.
Yeah.
Right. I will gladly be done. And there was a season of life where that would have never been something we would have been willing to do.
No.
Like our business was our identity. This was all, this was us. This was who we were. Now it's like, all right, God, we're trying to help people. We're trying to make an impact. We're trying to, you know, impact lives and generations through this business you've given us. But if you're done with us doing this, like say the word, we'll shut the doors.
Yeah.
And we just have never felt released to do that.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're walking through a season of nothing and you're like, God, you want me to be done with this? And you don't feel released to do that, then I would tell you, like, that's what you hold on to. That's the hope you hold on to is like, okay, you know, and I've always like put a little insurance prayer up there. Like, God, if that changes, just tap me on the shoulder. Like, let me know.
You tell me.
I'll still close it. But like, he's never given us a feeling that's what we needed to do.
No, if anything, it's been stay.
Yeah.
Stay and trust for what I'm doing.
And so it's the peace in that of knowing, okay, like I've literally put everything on the table. And even though nothing's still working, there was this little cloud on the horizon of just peace.
Yep.
And I think ultimately that peace comes from a recognition and like, again, it's kind of dying to pride of realizing that like, even though I do look at it and go like, well, I've got to provide for my family. I've got to do this. Like, I'm really not ultimately the provider for our family. Like how many times has there been things where, I mean, I remember even back to the earliest days of our marriage when we were young and got in stupid debt, like it's like finance a couch, finance a TV. We need a dining room table. Cool. Finance it. And I remember being in a situation where like we didn't understand that stuff at all and got ourselves into traps a lot of people get themselves into. And then like stuff was just piling up and we're like, oh my gosh, like about ready to drown, and got serious about trying to pay off debt, but still have that feeling like there's nothing. And then like mystery check shows up in the mail. And it's just like, where did that come from? I didn't do anything for that. That was from a medical procedure 2 years ago that they overbilled me for. What? And it showed up now when like tomorrow this bill's due that needs to get paid. Like we have so many stories of that throughout our history together. But ultimately, like there's been times in business too where it's like, what, this happened? And I think the tendency is to want to take credit for that. And yeah, here's the credit. You showed up and you did the thing, but like you were faithful to work the business. But ultimately, I believe those opportunities are brought to you. And so that's where that peace comes from, is just like a recalibration of knowing like, as long as I'm submitting all this to God and what he wants, that's all I have to do.
Well, and it's exactly when we took Erica and John out of it, we said, nope, we're not going to be prideful. Nope, this does not depend on us. This fully depends on him. There were a lot of just specific details that happened where we're like, look what he's doing. Look how what they just told us totally aligns with Simplify. Look how what they just said totally aligns with, hey, just stay right here, just double down, do this. And it was just so cool to be like, we can walk away. We can go enjoy just John and Erica life, and he's got the rest of it. It's like ultimately God's the one who has the rest of it. It's just like at some point he's just wanting us to like release the reins, like lighten those white knuckles and just trust for only what he can do.
Yeah. And if you're listening and you're wired like I am, you might be thinking like, okay, guys, I get it. Don't freak out. Don't work myself into the ground, create all this stuff. That's not going to provide clarity. Take some time, take some space. Cool. Got it. The perspective shift is nice. Yes, it's not all on me, but I'm still in this spot where nothing's working. What the heck do I do? I get it. Like that's my DNA. That's in my DNA, as you say.
Your DNA.
That's in my DNA. Like I go, cool, but what do I do about it? And I think that's the hardest part of this conversation. It should be the easiest, but it's the hardest part of this conversation because it grinds against the gears of my wiring so directly. But we were actually still navigating this and had a conversation at a kid's birthday party, a couple conversations with some other people walking through similar seasons. And I was just like, it was just such an eye-opening reminder to me of what to do in those situations. One conversation with a friend, he feels like he's supposed to start a church and has been trying to figure out, where am I going to host this? Where am I going to do this? And out of nowhere, gets asked to go to lunch or coffee, whatever, with this older gentleman who has property, has a church, and is just like, hey, I just really feel like, this congregation's getting older, it just needs some fresh life, some young people. I feel like I'm starting to become ineffective at what I do. I just feel like we need some fresh blood in here. Have you ever considered like doing anything like that? My friend's like, yeah, I'm actually right in the middle. Like he's talking to himself like, yeah, I'm right in the middle of like pursuing that and trying to figure that out. Like, yeah, I'm really trying to figure out like, what should I do with the facilities we have and all this. Long story short, just like out of nowhere comes this thing that's still in motion of just like, he didn't have to do anything to try and figure out, where are we going to meet? What's this going to look like? This is just brought to him out of the blue. Are you kidding me? It's because he wasn't trying to muscle his way through it. He wasn't trying to white knuckle his way through it. He's just like, okay, God, if this is what you want me to do, then I'm going to be faithful and take these steps. And he has. He's done some stuff at, parks and different events. But this came to him. And then I had a conversation with this friend's father-in-law at the same party. And he's talking to me about, he's trying to sell his business. He's worked for a long time and he's ready to just kind of chill on the beach. And he's trying to sell his business and is talking to me about this process and how it's been this back and forth and all these things involved and all this money tied up and lawyers and CPAs and all of this stuff. And then he's just reflecting, but he's like, yeah, it just reminds me, he goes back years ago, it's just like business dried up out of nowhere. Nothing we were doing before was working. And I'm like, at this point, I'm like, tell me more. What happened? Because
You
I
have
feel
my
this.
attention.
I feel this right now. He's like, nothing we were doing works.
It's like,
Everything fell off a cliff.
Nothing's working. We can be friends. Like, I
Yeah.
get you. I know who you are.
You want to be part of my club? Yeah. So I'm just like, I'm all ears and listening to what he has to say. And he's like, yeah, so we persevered. We kept doing what we do. We pivoted here and there just slightly. But he goes, then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he's like, we went through the season of like, oh my gosh, like this is not going to work. Oh my goodness, things are too close. Like it's all going to go belly up. He's like, it never went belly up. He goes, out of nowhere. He described it because he likes to be on the water. He's a fisherman. He's like, it was like a buoy popping up out of the water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know if you've seen, like, think of something inflated with air that's held under the surface of the water and then just skyrockets out of the water. That's what he's describing. He's like, things came back, and they came back fast and strong and bigger and badder than they'd ever been before. And I was just like, huh. And I told you, I was like, I just had 2 conversations that were really encouraging because neither one of these guys did anything.
Yep.
They just remained faithful to what they were doing and trusted that the outcome would be what it was.
But they also didn't give up.
And they also didn't give up. That's right.
Because again, that's the other side of the spectrum. It's like you can be here where it's just like, all right, I quit. I forfeit. Give up. White flag, I surrender. Or you can come all the way to this side where these 2 gentlemen were in the stories that you just shared, surrendered in the best kind of way. Just like in full faith, full trust, full surrenderance, just saying, Lord, this is where you have me. This is where I'm at in a season of nothing, but trusting you because this is where I know you want me to be.
Yeah.
And then those 3 words, out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. All of a sudden.
Yep.
Out of nowhere. And I think that's the hardest part for me. Like I said, it should be the easiest part. Okay. Rest. Don't freak out. Don't stress. Relax. Be faithful. Show up. Do the work. And let God work. But for me, it just runs against the like, I've got to do it. I've got to work. I've got to push hard. But it's like this whole idea of working harder makes you more successful is a fallacy to begin with. Because how many people do you know that work really, really hard that you probably wouldn't consider successful? Yeah. Right? Like there's a lot of hardworking individuals that we wouldn't look at and go like, oh, well, they're wildly successful.
They're just overworked, grumpy, fried, can't think straight, too much on their mind, not present, not like fully enjoying really anything. And
of course, everybody can argue, well, what's your definition of success? All those kinds of things. Yes. I totally get it. Let's talk about success in the terms of like financially abundant, abundance of time, abundance of resources to like live this carefree life, like the dream, right? Like how many teachers show up to school every day and work really, really, really hard that's not their reality? How many people are working paving roads that we can drive on every day? That's not their reality.
Right.
Like there are so many people who work really, really hard. How about single mom working a couple jobs to put food on the table and keep the lights on? Like there are a lot of people that work really, really, really hard that we wouldn't look at and be like, objectively, wow, they're so successful. Again, depends on what your definition of success is. I get it. So working hard doesn't make you more successful, but why is that our default response is like, well, just got to work harder. Just got to put more time in. Just got to muscle through this. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there's not a season to work hard. We work very, very hard.
Yeah.
If it's all through this lens of freak out, it's just like flailing, right? It's like, I don't know why I just got this picture in my mind of jumping in the pool and trying to swim laps, but just like your body's just like a noodle in the pool and you're just flailing and splashing everywhere. You're not going to get anywhere. You're going to sink, actually, is what's going to happen. Well, rather than just like simple, smooth strokes, long strokes, steady, consistent. That's the way to do it.
In gratitude, not in pride. Because it's like that's just where you can find yourself. Pulling yourself back to pride. I got this. I'm going to white knuckle it. I'm going to control it. Or I'm grateful for where I'm at because regardless if it's an abundance or whether it's nothing, there's something for me in it. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for whatever that is because it's taking me to where I'm going next. Yeah. Like everything is just a season. Like the season of everything's perfect and smooth and whew, it's just a season. Something's going to change next. And so that's why it's like you have to be able to find that place of just like going with the flow, the whole swimming motion you just had going with gratitude, trust, surrender, and just like peace in where you're at, no matter where that is.
Yeah. I think that peace is hard for us to find naturally because we're too busy fighting against it rather than just letting it come in.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a section of scripture in Matthew chapter 6 where Jesus is actually talking, and he tells people, and this hits home. He says, "Therefore I tell you, don't worry about your life, what you're going to eat, what you're going to drink, or about your body, what you're going to wear. Isn't your life more than food? Isn't your body more than the clothes you wear? Look at the birds in the air. They don't sow, they don't reap, they're not farming out there. They don't store away in barns for the future, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not much more valuable than them? Can any of you, by worrying, add a single hour to your life? Why do you worry about clothes? Look at the flowers in the field and how they grow. They don't labor, they don't spin. They're not spinning up their own cotton.
Mm-hmm.
But I tell you that not even Solomon in all his splendor was dressed like these. If that's how God clothes the grass of the field, which is here today and tomorrow thrown into the fire, will he not that much more clothe you? It says, you of little faith. Ouch.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like so true, and that hits home so hard for me. That's cool to read. I think it's something like that's like you'd picture it on like a grandma's coffee mug, like, oh, don't worry about your life, like, woo. But like, let's be real, like we do. Our default tendency is to worry. Mm-hmm. Our default tendency is to be anxious. Our default tendency is to see nothing and be like, freak out, like we've talked about this whole time.
Yeah,
we're saying like, don't worry,
mm-hmm.
I got you, and like that. Coming at the end, like, you have little faith. Yeah, I guess ultimately I have to reconcile with like recognizing that the times I worry the most are the times I am operating in the least amount of faith.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, one of our pastors from the past used to say, like, the thing you worry about the most is where you trust God the least.
Yeah, that's eye-opening.
Super eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
So takeaways, I mean, from this conversation, if you're walking through a season of nothing and it feels like nothing's working, it doesn't matter what you put your hand to. Like maybe things were working in the past and they've just fallen off a cliff. Number one, I just want you to be encouraged to know, like, you're not alone. This is a process that I think every entrepreneur walks through, not just once, but multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
And we were encouraged with and shared at the beginning of this episode, like, it's for you. It's not against you. It's for you. If you are willing to walk through this season and apply some of the things we've talked about in this conversation, you will grow. You will grow. You will come out the other side a completely different person. And I would argue you will come out the other side the type of person you need to be for what's next for you.
And I also just feel like in love, we couldn't not add that if you don't choose to do that, you're gonna just hang out right here way longer than you want to until that transformation takes place. And that's just honestly, it doesn't seem that way, like initially in your mind, but that's because God is just good and he doesn't want us to stay in this current place. He has more for us. And just like anything, when it grows or when it's refined, it has to be sifted or it has to get completely cut down to nothing, just like those plants. And it's like, that's his goodness. It doesn't feel like it. And a lot of people wouldn't maybe see it that way, but it really is because he wants you to continue growing into who he has you to be. And that doesn't only come with highs. Like it rarely ever does. And so you do need to embrace it because there's something for you in it, just like you said.
Yeah. Amy and Jordan Demos, two people that have been very impactful in our lives over the years. There was a season a few years into business, long before we ever got into teaching other people, where everything we had been doing stopped working.
Yep.
Our backs were against the wall.
Yep.
We had burned through all of our savings. I think we were literally in the spot where we had like a month and a half left of finances where we knew like we can take care of the needs, like we can keep the lights on.
Yeah.
And I reached out to them, and Jordan, he typed a response we've held on to since. And it was comparing this journey as entrepreneurs to being on a roller coaster.
He said, building a business or entrepreneurship is like riding a roller coaster. There's ups and downs, there's twists and turns, there's drops that make your stomach just feel like it's bottoming out. You're going to feel sick, you're going to get dizzy, you are going to have excitement, and then you're also going to freak out. But the only ones that ever get hurt on a roller coaster are the ones that get off too soon. And it's like, geez, I almost can't say that without tearing up because it's so true. And I think with building a business, there's too many people who are like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. It doesn't look like theirs. It didn't grow as fast as theirs. Whatever the case may be. I'm in this situation now. They're not. Like, they've got it figured out. Versus like, just look at your own ride. Look at your own ride that you're on. See how many highs you have had. That goes into the perspective we were talking about on our last episode. And it's like, you're in a low right now and you probably feel really queasy. You're nauseous and you want to vomit at what you're looking at in front of you. But it's going to take a turn. The only ones, like, just the way he said it, too, is just like the only ones that ever get hurt are the ones that get off too soon.
You know what's really funny about that is, as you were saying that, I'm picturing in my head, so this is peek into John's brain. I'm like, yeah, loop-de-loop and, like, take off the harness. Got hurt. Like, yeah. But I was like, but loop-de-loops are kind of fun. Like,
they're a blast.
So that doesn't really work in my mind. Like, this, I'm trying to play this analogy out in my head because, like, it's true. Like, you got to stay seated with your restraint on the entire ride. Wait, you know.
Please stay seated.
But you know what hit me is reflecting back years ago, we took a trip to Six Flags and we rode Goliath. Goliath is this insane climb up with this crazy vertical drop down. It was, at the time it was built, it was like one of the tallest drops.
My most favorite terrible ride.
And business is like, oh my gosh, yes, we're peaking. Whoa, oh no, the bottom's falling out. Like, but that and the loop-de-loops and all of that, like, they come, and I think we all know that, and we expect that, and we ride some of those ups and downs and twists and turns, all that stuff. The part that you blacked out on wasn't the drop.
No.
It wasn't the loops. It was, check this out. You're going to be like, whoa. The part you blacked out on was from the G-forces when we're just circling like this, almost like you're circling the drain at like the bottom of the roller coaster.
Yeah, that G4, I see it now. Barely, because then like, I black out.
Do you know what I'm saying, though? Like, and maybe this is just in my head that this is making sense, but it's like, it wasn't the insane climb. It wasn't the insane drop. It wasn't the loop-de-loops and the corkscrews. It was when the ride was like at the bottom and we're literally doing these tight turns and the G-forces were insane, pushing us back into our seats. That's when you blacked out. It was like at the bottom as we're circling the drain.
Yeah.
Like, that's the time when it's like, I mean, your body gave up.
Yeah.
Right? Your body's like,
I had no control.
I got no more.
I had no control.
I got no more. There's nothing scarier as a new husband, too. We were freshly married.
Yep.
Seeing your wife passed out next to you and being like, I can't get to her because you're in a harness. Like, that was freaky.
Even freakier was the fact I could hear you, but I could do nothing about it. I just was, I was off, power off.
But it was in that moment that it was like, if you wanted to jump ship, it would have been then.
Mm-hmm.
And it's exactly what we're talking about, is the feeling when nothing's working. It's like you're circling the drain.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, you can't get off too early. And so if you're walking through this type of season, like I said, you're not alone. But also, I just want to encourage you, resist the urge and the temptation to try and just muscle your way out. The most dangerous thing is you do that and it works. And here's why I say that is it might work temporarily, but you're going to be back in that season again. You're going to be presented with a whole other opportunity to learn the lesson. So resist the temptation to just try and muscle your way through. If it's been a while since you've taken some time to create some white space and to rest, I want you to pencil that into your calendar. Actually, scratch that. I want you to grab a Sharpie marker and I want you to Sharpie that into your calendar. Block off your Calendly so that nobody can book appointments. Let people that you've got meetings scheduled with know you're not going to make it. Take time to do nothing. It's the exact opposite of what we want to do, but it is the greatest gift that I think we felt compelled to give ourselves as we've been walking through the season. And what's the end of the story for us? I would love to end this episode telling you we did this thing and everything changed, and we're leaving this podcast episode to go get on a plane to Bora Bora to celebrate our anniversary, staying in a tiki hut over the ocean. That's not happening. Like, that's not the outcome at this point.
at
Could
this
be
point.
all of a sudden, who knows? But what we do have is a peace. What we do have is clarity. What we do have is direction. And what we are starting to see is a cloud the size of a hand.
And less of us. Less of us, which is so much of what we want. And so while, yes, that's like the greatest takeaway of the white space and nothing, just resting in it and finding joy in nothing, would also, for the tangible thing, okay, is like, okay, but when it's time to take action, how do I take action? Steward what you have. Don't toil. Like, don't spend your time tormenting yourself, toiling, busying yourself. Just steward what's in front of you. Put less of yourself into it and trust God with the rest. Let him do the work that truly only he can do, because that's ultimately the best outcome you're ever going to see. And just remind yourself and tell yourself that even in nothing, he is still so good. He's so good in the times where there's nothing, because that's where you see him the most. It's where you can hear him because you're not busied. You're not cluttered with all this noise. You're not going. And you can just feel and hear and sense everything that you need when there's nothing, and not being afraid of it, because he's really good in it and doesn't leave you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would encourage you to go to Christine Caine's post
We'll
on
link
her
to it in the
page.
show notes.
Go send in the keyword on that post of hers and listen to that message that she attached to it, because it's short, it's digestible, but man, it's just such a good reminder of how nothing will test your faith more like nothing. And it's so true, but it's a great word of encouragement for that.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for joining us for today's episode. Hey, if this made an impact on you, if this has encouraged you, our whole entire goal with Beyond the Camera is to do that and to make a positive impact on others and help you see your purpose that goes far beyond the camera. So if you subscribe, if you share this with a friend who maybe needs that encouragement as well, it would mean the world to us, so we can encourage even more people through what we're doing here on Beyond the Camera. Thanks a ton, and we'll see you next time.